Hey, fifth grade, what is going on? This is Mr. C. We are on our lesson number 3 of week 2. This is going to be the part 1 of the Dred Scott decision, identifying main ideas and key details. So here's your objectives, everybody. I'll be able to read and identify, annotate key details, use key details to determine and support the main idea, share my thinking with my classmates. So let's get to it, guys. Let's take a preview. Let's look at the title and the text and see what we can predict. The Dred Scott decision. U.S. Supreme Court. This is going to be on the U.S. Constitution, page 12 through 19. Okay, so what we can kind of predict is that there's something going on with a court. Yeah, that's what I think. So again, to annotate, guys, here is what you need to do to annotate. Underline the key detail. You put a star next to important idea in the margin. And you want to write 1, 2, and 3 or 4, depending. Mark a sequence of events. So if there's a sequence of events that's happening, you want to mark those. You want to circle keywords or phrase, just like circling magma. And then mark a question you have about information in the text. So write your question in the margin. Also indicate by putting a exclamation point to an idea in a text that you find interesting. So comment on the side again in the margin, okay? So we're going to be checking your books for these. So when we're grading your books for your report card, we're going to be looking at these things. Make sure that you guys have these symbols on it because we showed this to you guys all the time. So what's the purpose of our lesson today? Well, we're going to read the Dred Scott decision to find out who Dred Scott was and what significant role he played in the African-American fight for freedom. Also, we're going to be identifying key details and determining the main idea, this portion of the text. Don't forget, guys, annotate and notate. So here's what you're going to be doing. You're going to be reading paragraphs 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to be thinking of the main idea. So you're going to read the paragraph, pause, read the paragraph, and figure out the main idea of that paragraph. The same thing for paragraph 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so pause the video now and do that. So now that you read 1 through 4, we're going to be doing our guided practice. You're going to be reading paragraphs 5 through 7 to find out more about Dred Scott's life as a slave. Identify key details and determine the main idea in this portion of the text. So go ahead and read 5 through 7. Pause this video now. Okay, let's look at our graph right here, guys. So we have the section, key details, and main idea. Paragraphs 1 through 4. The key details there is in 1857, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Scott, a slave, was not to be a citizen or have any rights. The country was divided between the slaves and the free states. The Supreme Court hoped to use the Dred Scott, gotta fix that. The Dred Scott case to determine whether a new state should be slave or free. So what is the main idea of that paragraphs 1 through 4? Well, basically, the Dred Scott decision came at an important time in the debate over slave versus free states. And the court's decision against Dred Scott made people angry about this issue. So now, I want you guys to read the key details with me for paragraphs 5 through 7. Dred Scott was born to enslaved parents in Virginia. Scott was sold and moved many times, but spent several years with John Emerson in free territories. When Emerson died, ownership of his slaves, including Scott, was transferred to his wife. So let's get the main idea of that one, guys, and write it down in that box. Now let's read the key details for paragraphs 8 and 10. As slaves, Scott and his family had no choice about where they lived. Scott asked the court for freedom for himself and his family because they had lived in a free state. So what's the main idea there? Write it there. All right, so that was the end of part 1. Now we're going to be going to part 2. There's going to be a lot of reading in this one, guys. So make sure you annotate after you've read. You're going to be pausing again and reading. So go ahead and read paragraph 11. Pause this video. And then think of the main idea. Just highlight, annotate. And the same thing for 12, 13, and 14. Go for it, guys. Let's do this. Make us proud. More reading. You're like, oh my gosh, is this ever going to stop? So now here's what we're going to do. I want you guys to do the exact same thing. You're going to be pausing and reading paragraphs 15. After you've read it, right? Highlight, annotate the main idea, and then you're good. You go on to 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. The paragraphs aren't that long, so you're fine. We don't want to hear any whining. You guys are 5th graders. Alright, so now that you've gone through all of that, here's what you need to do. I want you guys to write a summary paragraph on this short read. So kind of put together all those key details that you guys annotated and put them in one paragraph, which includes maybe 5, 6 sentences. Alright, hope you guys had a great time listening to this video. I will talk to you guys later. This is Mr. C. I'm out. Sorry, no music today. Later, Gators, because you're not doing all your work. All you're trying to do is listen to music. So you guys got to show me that you're doing your work, and then we'll put the music back. All right? Laters.